Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Victoria Valle.
You're listening to The Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey, Victoria.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Good.
Awesome. So let's get started here. So what exactly do you do? Tell us a little bit about you.
I am a real estate agent here in Toledo, Ohio, and we specialize more in the upper end homes. Been in the business since 1999, and I have a team that works with me.
That's awesome. So when you got started, was your whole plan to be an agent, or what was your whole plan when you were younger?
My plan, so when I was younger, my plan was not to be an agent. In 99, I got into the business because I thought it was, where could I make the most amount of money in the least amount of time? And then quickly found out in that first year, where can I work the most amount of hours and make the least amount of money? And so that was, I mean, since I've been in it, I've always just loved it. And I thought I was going to do it part-time. I had just had a baby. I had another 2-year-old. And so after my first day at the office, I went back, got daycare, and have been in it full-time ever since. And I am one who comes to the office every day.
That's awesome. So when you were you a stay-at-home mom when you started, or was it how did that first part go?
Well, I had moved 14 times in 5 years before that, which was kind of how I got into it too, where I thought that it was such an easy job and I could do it so much better than the service that we were provided.
Yep.
So that was a big part of too what prompted it. And then just looking at it, like I said, a career that I thought I was going to work at home, but I've never been one that's worked at home or part-time. I've always, from my first day, I've been full-time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to go part-time as an agent too. It's a really big misconception. People think you don't put a lot of time in. Like you said, when you first started out, the fastest way to get most money for the less amount of work, but it's quite the opposite sometimes.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And I just have always been a believer, you're either in or out depending on your goals. If you wanted this to be a part-time and just maybe a deal or two supplemental income, if a friend or something, but my opinion, I don't think that's fair to your friends or your family, that this is, it's the biggest investment of their life. And you're going to, because of your greed, take it over and do 1 or 2 deals a year without any experience and feel like your friends should use you for their guidance. And you're just doing it, part-time and on the side. So, I'm sure others will differ with me on that. But for myself, I looked at it and, I just think it's too big of an investment for anyone. And the decisions that I make and the guidance that I give them, I take from my heart and from the things, and I feel like I need to know it all.
Yeah, for sure. When you first started out, were you on a team or did you start solo?
I started by myself, but I really looked for a top agent to team up with because of that feeling like I wasn't qualified to handle someone's sale. So I went around and asked different agents if they needed a member or someone to help, and pretty much was rejected many, many times. And so I found, her name was Eileen O'Boyle. She was an older lady that had been in the business for a long time. She had a ton of business and she had it all just because she was her. And she was a very good agent, highly respected, but really didn't do much marketing, no advertising, not much with photos, not on the internet. So I asked her if she needed, actually I started holding her houses open. I started making her brochures. I started looking at what she was doing and I was like, why don't you have a brochure at the house? Why don't you have this? And so I just started doing all of this work for her for free. But in my mind, it came to when I had that first listing, I would now have the experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it was giving me the experience. And then she liked it because she wasn't doing anything. And so maybe after, I don't know how long it was, she asked me to go on the first listing with her, and she said, "Would you like to go on a listing with me?" And of course I said, "Sure." And then from that point on, I went on every listing with her. And
Wow.
at that time, it was I would do all the work and she would bring in the leads. And it
Okay.
was a great fit. She was looking at possibly, slowing down, and I didn't have any business and really enjoyed it. And so it was a perfect fit when it was designed. And quickly then we outgrew it, where then I started bringing in quite a bit of the business, and then eventually I started bringing in a lot more, and just we outgrew that for no other reason. The concept was me to do the work and her to have more time off. And the amount of business that came in didn't allow her to have that time off. It was the opposite.
Right.
And so then we split our ways, and then I went off on my own. And then at that point, started I really had administrative staff for quite a bit, and then now I have a licensed agent, 2 of them.
Okay, awesome. So when you first started with her, I know you were getting your experience. Is there any advice that she gave you that really just helped you throughout your first couple of years?
Um, I would say the thing that I admired about her the most is that she was very honest and true, and her all of her clients just loved her. So she didn't she didn't have to market. And I thought that that was quite amazing, especially how much time and effort I was putting into marketing.
Yeah.
She got business just because of who she was and her experience in the business, and that you could trust her. And so, from that standpoint of really realizing how important it was to, I guess we all know, be honest with your clients, and be true to them.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of switching the questions up here. What is the worst property that you have been to over the years? I'm sure you've seen a handful of them, but what is the one that sticks out to you the most?
It depends on what you mean by worst. And
Anything
that,
at all. Yeah.
Whatever way you want to go with it.
I guess there's one that I think of, and I wouldn't say it's the worst, because I would say that I think it could be a phenomenal property. Um, and I don't even know how much I can get into here because we still haven't listed it.
Okay.
And but it was one that I could walk away and tell anyone, I have no doubt you have never seen anything like this before.
That's
And
awesome.
they would, and leave it at that, and then take them over to it.
Huh.
So
That's cool.
But it's still in the market, you said?
it
It's
is
still.
no, we haven't even went on the market yet.
Okay.
Huh.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm curious to know more, but we won't
We
talk
don't need
about
to go
that
know
one.
now.
Yep.
So when you for like the next year, are you planning on hiring any more team members, or what's kind of your goal for like the next year with your team?
Um, you know, for the next year, I don't know if we will or not. I expect that we're going to really grow. I've been putting together my own database, property management software, that we run the company, how the buyers work, how I work. And it's a very extensive system, and it also does so much for us and makes our job so easy and foolproof that I will be able to bring on people, and there will be set systems that everyone follows. So similar to like a franchise, but we can all say we run our business. And in my past, I had paper that said, "Here's what we do,"
Yeah.
but people didn't do it, and I don't have enough time to oversee that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The system that I have now, and I don't want to bring on anyone until then, because then it's perfect training too. That they'll have an action plan, they'll have a checklist. It will just be all set out for them so that they can't fail. For one, if they follow it, they're doomed to succeed. And so once I feel like I'm real comfortable with that, I'll feel real comfortable to bring on, another agent. I don't know that we're going to need any more administrative staff, because the system does so much for us.
That's
And
awesome.
we have a weekly goal for each one of the team members. Every week, a team member has one thing that they're going to do within this system that will make their jobs easier and better in the future. So, what's one thing, let's say, that you do repeatedly that you could make automated or make it easier? And
Okay.
so have been focusing this year on that, as being committed each week to doing something that's going to make it a lot that you never wanted to do. So let's say whether it's putting together a database or putting together a letter or something, but each week we each take on a different project for that database
Okay.
that'll make it easier for everyone to use.
Nice. I love
That's
that.
awesome.
And you created that, right? You created how that was going to run for you guys?
I have been working on it. I've been working on it
Yeah.
for um over, I'm going to say, about a year and a half now.
Wow.
Um, it started out maybe about 40 hours a week for about 6 months. And now I probably work on it about 10 hours a week consistently.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and I have a programmer, and he's out of Australia, who's just been a godsend. That's puts it all together for me. And we meet every week and we go over it and put new things together. And he works on them throughout the week. Then we meet the next week. We go over what he's got done. And then the fact that I'm working in it and the whole team is working in it, we can come up with new ways of
Yeah.
things that we wished it would do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely make it better. Like you said, make it better. Like you said, they once a week they do that to check to see what's going to make their job easier in the future. All your team members.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. 'Cause especially if you find all that now, and like, hey, you guys got one task, figure out what's going to make it better, and then you guys implement that in the next one. I mean, it just only gets better from there.
Well, and you can get so caught up. In our past, we would always say, well, I was too busy. I was too busy. This
Yep.
is our
Yeah.
busy season. That is no longer acceptable. If it's only one thing, and we make sure whatever that one thing is takes in 1 hour or less,
Okay.
um, it doesn't matter how busy you were or what you had going on. Um, it's what do you say? It's a non-negotiable item
Right.
that this is. Don't commit. I'm not asking you to commit to anything, but I think we could all figure out one way to do that, or put 1 hour within a week towards something that's going to take, it could take hours off a week for someone. It could take, a lot longer than that eventually. Um, and they're all loving it. So that's what makes it. They're seeing the success of it. They're seeing how easy their job is. They're seeing how they don't miss things. So they're seeing the results from it now, where they weren't too happy about me changing things at the beginning. And I said, bear with me, bear with me.
Yeah.
I know you guys are going to love it. And right when I found the gentleman who did the programming was when COVID hit. So
Okay.
our timing couldn't have been better. And he's from Australia, so our time difference is quite a bit. So we basically worked all through the night, and he was in lockdown. I was in lockdown, and so I mean, timing couldn't have been more perfect.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get with him every day for 8 hours had
Yeah.
he not been in lockdown and shut down.
Right. Yeah. Because that time, it kind of forced everybody to slow down a little bit. So it gave you the extra time needed to build this. So that's awesome.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah.
So if I would reached out to him now and wanted that, there would be no way. So it was just like
Yeah.
things just worked out perfectly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
I have another question with that as well. So your team members, the agents, do they create their own goals for that? Or is that something you guys as a group create together?
They create their own.
Okay.
So it's real important that they create their own. They look at what they're working on and what's something that would make their job a little bit easier in the future, or something that they've seen that was worked on that they would, like to have. So, and every once in a while, someone can't think of something, and so together we'll collaborate, and
Yeah.
but they've got to be agreeable to it. So they create it, they've got to be agreeable to it. And I look at things an hour or less.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. I like it. So let's change it up a little bit. Let's say you had to start all over today and you only had $1,000. How would you spend that first $1,000?
I would spend it. Well, gosh, I can tell you where I spent it before. I spent it on internet marketing, and that's how I created my name.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anyone. But now I don't know if I would, because Danbury has such a great internet site. I would use theirs. So I would probably invest in something. You know what? I would spend it on class at Ninja.
Nice. Changing it up. I like it.
So if I could look at it now and if someone said they had it, I would say the best use of that money is the Ninja program. I'm a big believer in. I've taken it. We follow it. It's amazing. It works. And I would strongly recommend it to anyone. So it would go to signing up for Ninja.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Is there any book that you have read that you could recommend to anybody? Say like you're going to grow your team. Is there any book that you could recommend to a new team member?
One of my favorite, if I was going to grow, would probably be The Slight Edge. And that falls in line with us because I've always been obsessive compulsive and I went like this. And that's how the real estate world is. And trying to really focus on just going like this, that you can have ups and downs, but they don't need to be so high. And that if you just did one small thing each day, it's going to make a bigger difference than, like a diet. My early years, I wanted to lose weight. I'd stop eating for 10 days. So now rather than just watching it each day and saying, I can't, I love living a healthy lifestyle. So
that's awesome. I like it. So how can people get a hold of you?
You can by email, by phone.
What's the best place?
The internet, but the best way is by text or by phone or email.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are these working?
All right.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe? What do we got to point at it? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
it might be there.
It might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Find
it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah, I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review for listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars, guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
I don't think this is working.
This is not working.